Alright, so this is going to be our Principles of Lifestyle workshop. First time we've ever done one virtually or through a recording. So we're going to get this recorded for you. It is an abbreviated version, so I'm still recommending that everybody comes and attends the workshop in class. We can tailor it more to the crowd in front of us, answer any questions at the time. We also have some videos that we like to show along with it when we do it live. But for the sake of the season we're in right now, we're going to do this virtually and recover the cycle of disease, but with the focus of connecting in the additional recommendations that we're making. When you first came in for your report of findings, we focused on basically going through the cycle of disease here to connect it to the testing that we did on your initial visit, and then tie it into the recommendations we were making. You've now been coming and getting reset for about a month, so maybe about 10, 12 visits depending on your recommendations, maybe less. And so now it's time to put some of the more of the responsibility in your hands. We're going to be recommending some exercises for you to do at home, but this is the time to kind of take your care to the next level and allow there to be more time between the adjustments, because that's really where the healing happens. When you're in here on the table and you get the reset done, that's when the signal is corrected. And then it's between that visit and the next visit that your body can actually heal. Well, we've got some neat things to show you tonight that we want to add into your arsenal so that you can accelerate that and have it happen faster. So real quick, a recap here with this cycle is we've got life up here, and there's three kinds of stresses. We have the emotional stress, the chemical stress, and the physical stress. Emotional stress, a great example of that right now is COVID, finances, what's going on in the world, things we can't control. And that's where at our recent webinar we talked about this isn't what your optimal immune system plan to overcome COVID, it's just your optimal immune system, period. If not COVID, there's the next antibacterial or antibiotic resistant bacteria, or the next 5G or environmental toxin. There's something else coming in the future, and we want to be ready for it. Start preparing for it right now instead of caught on our heels backpedaling. Second thing is chemical stress. That can come, ties into emotional stress. When you're emotionally stressed, that releases cortisol, a lot of stress hormones just internally, or the chemical stresses of our ever-polluted environment, fire retardants in our homes, different things we have on our personal care products. What's in your shampoo? Can you recognize half of the ingredients there, or maybe your deodorant? Things we're putting on us every single day can have a toxic load if we're not careful about what is in them. Even our foods, right? We're aware of some of the pesticides and things like that. Organic is always better. There's going to be a chart that we'll include as far as our Principle of Living guide to nutrition. But on the other hand, is even the most organic, perfectly produced strawberry will mold eventually. So there's molds in foods, things like that. Little things we're not aware of. And the physical stress, we'll talk on that. What can we be doing to combat gravity and to reverse the process that happens in this Are You De-Evolving chart over here? Having that forward posture and basically prevent that from happening. So those three stresses will overstimulate your brain. Remember that happens throughout your life. Even before the womb to your last breath, your brain is getting overwhelmed. Now, thankfully, about 90% of the time, your brain will actually reset on its own. It will compensate and rebalance the pathway. But there's about that 10% that accumulates. So that's what we're working on here. That 10% is what is accumulating and likely causing the symptoms or the conditions that you came in with. Or if you don't have any symptoms and conditions, really what happens is that means that over here, the 10%, this 10% of your nerve system that carries symptoms, remember there's 90% that doesn't. So you might just not have any pathways, pain pathways haven't been hit yet. And so some of you are coming, you don't have symptoms, but you want to keep your muscle system and your organ system performing optimally, especially right now in light of the current events and what we want with our immune systems. So that interference can lead to interference anywhere, but we've specifically tested for it in your muscles to see if your muscle pattern is out of balance and your blood vessels, organs, and other glands. That accompanies everything in your body. If we found any imbalance there, we've got a game plan set up to correct that and to be monitoring that throughout your care plan. But really what it creates is a dis-ease. A dis-ease or an imbalance in any of the chemicals in your body, any of the things, the processes going in your body. It could just be blood pressure, heart rate too high. Big one right now though is immune system. Is your immune system sleeping, or is it balanced and performing optimally right now? That can lead to inflammation. The two causes of inflammation, or two kinds, would be acute and chronic. Remember, acute is the one that's okay. That's the one that is designed to quickly repair your system. What happens after a workout, what happens after you roll your ankle and it heals within a few days or a week, that's acute inflammation. Chronic inflammation is the kind that leads to disease. Erodes your arteries, causes the degeneration in your joints. That's the kind we do not want, and it's basically a sign of an ineffective healing response. So what we're doing, and what we've already done, you've probably seen it on your scan already, is we've taken some of that chronic inflammation and we've basically increased your healing potential, that it's no longer chronic, it actually became acute. It was a sleeping, dormant, ineffective healing response. Now it's acute, maybe you feel it, maybe you don't, but it's being productive now, and that's a good thing. And if that does not get addressed, it often can lead into a label and feed back into the system. So tonight, we're going to talk about those four things: food, water, air, and the nerve supply. So first off, proper food. We've got a chart we're going to send out to you. Simply put, if you can make it in your kitchen, that's a really good rule to live by. If you can make it in your kitchen, you're going to be better off eating it, because it's going to be more of a whole food, naturally unprocessed food. So refer to that chart for that. Other thing that we're big on is if you can limit your carbohydrates. I'm not saying eliminate them, you don't have to go ketogenic, but very confident that everybody can benefit from restricting their carbohydrates. You do that, and you learn what a carbohydrate is, you're going to be much better off. That takes care of a lot of the sweets and treats and carbs and the different grains and things like that. If you limit that, you start eating healthier sources of protein and fat as your primary fuel sources, you're going to be better off. In short, you've got a fire that's burning all the time. If you got to keep a fire burning all day long, all life long, what do you want to put on your fire? Do you want to put on big logs, which would represent fat, medium-sized sticks that would represent protein, or do you want to put little twigs and grass on it that represents the carbohydrates? If you're constantly having to throw the little twigs, the little kindling on it, it just burns up and it goes away. And that's what's happening to your blood sugar, up and down, up and down. Carbohydrates are meant for fast energy. If you need to go run quick and you need to go, middle of a workout kind of thing, that's great. But for most of us, the protein and the fat is the energy that we want to have, and for many reasons we're going to benefit from that. But beyond that, just eat real food. That's the biggest thing. Second one, water. Water, just get enough water and get clean water. Enough water would be about half your body weight in ounces a day is a good minimum, I would say, to go for. You're exercising, you're sweating, you're not feeling well, your immune system's compromised. Up the water, flushes your system, it's very, very good for you. Try to get clean water. Our public water supply is not bad, but it is not perfect. It has traces of antidepressants, of birth control pills. Some of them have cholesterol medications in them. So if you can run it through a Brita filter, do something to take some of those medication traces out, or even some of the chlorine out of it. That's going to be good for you. Best thing would be to get a high quality filter that takes out the fluoride and even ionizes the water. If you can put a charge on the water will actually draw into your cells and it will hydrate you better. Then that water you're drinking becomes even more beneficial. But you got to get enough. And the other thing is, it's simple, but if you're having trouble getting your ounces of water in, well, you can't have it. You can't drink it if you don't have it. So get a water bottle you like and keep it with you. Keep it at your desk, keep it in your car, carry it around with you, and it'll disappear. It will drink. Or at least it'll disappear a lot faster than if it's sitting at home on your kitchen counter. So keep it with you, and you'd be surprised how you can get in a pattern of drinking it. Your energy will be better, you'll sleep better, your immune system will be better, everything will work better. Third thing is air. How do we get air? Well, we breathe hard. A lot of us get stressed and we start shallowly breathing. We're sitting a lot and we breathe even more shallow. So one way to do it is get up and move, exercise. Find something you like, find something that's safe. Your best bet is going to be some sort of a resistance training. So if you can do anything to, for one, put some muscle mass on, that is going to benefit you in more ways than you realize. You will burn more body fat because you've got more muscle to feed. Your joints will be healthier, your bones will be stronger, your blood sugar will be better because your muscles store sugar in them, and when we never use our muscles to exhaust our muscles, those sugar stores get old and dormant, and we lose the ability to store sugar and release sugar from our muscles. that's essentially what is a big component of diabetes. So if you can do something to use your muscles, whether you could be going for a walk and cardio, but even better, just doing some body weight exercises at home if you have to. Lots of great resources on YouTube. Find something there. High intensity burst training, interval training is a great way to go. Tons of things you can do at home with that. So look into that, but big thing is just get out and move. Do it with somebody if you can, and have fun doing it. Do something that's consistent. But that will get you to breathe more. Secondly, just take some deep breaths. Take 3 or 5 deep breaths a couple different times during the day. It'll wake you up. You'll feel better. It just to stand up straight and take a deep breath. It feels amazing. Set an alarm on your watch if you have to, something to remind you. That's a great way to do it. Then box breathing, if you want to look into that, it's just basically taking like a 4-second inhale. So inhale for 4 seconds, hold it for 4 seconds, exhale for 4 seconds, and then rest with no air for 4 seconds, 4 or 5 seconds. Just deep, slow breathing. You don't have to get complicated with it, but just breathe better, breathe deeper. It's going to help you, and it's going to be a world of a difference, especially if you're not doing anything like that right now. Then the fourth thing is going to kind of be the recommendations that we have. I'll lump that into one. We've got some supplement recommendations, and then some, we call it neurospinal rehab. So your nerves go through the bones in your spine, and so we're going to actually rehab the neurology and the position of the bones to get your whole brain function to work better. But first, we'll touch on this supplement. This is a supplement. This is not to replace a healthy diet. In your care notes, your chart, you'll have some recommendations there to follow. Any questions, please ask. We've got them broken up into primary, they call them nutraceuticals. It's like a nutrition prescription. Primary nutraceuticals, secondary nutraceuticals. And you can read about what's recommended and why there. The primary one of them is going to be vitamin D. We've got 2 forms of it. You can have it in a capsule. It's small, it's about the size of a pea, or liquid. Vitamin D is extremely important. We cover it in some of our webinars. If you want more research on it, I'm happy to get it to you. But it's been shown to be protective against breast cancer and a lot of different immune system problems. Bottom line though is you got a receptor in every cell in your body, and if you're not taking it, sitting under a UV light, or getting into a tropical environment on a consistent basis, you are going to be deficient. And the level marker that we're looking at is 60 to 80 milligrams per deciliter. If you get your blood drawn by your primary physician, their range is going to be like above 30 and you're good. Yes, to prevent disease, above 30, you're probably going to be okay. For optimal health, we want 60 to 80. So keep that in mind and look at your recommendation as far as what potency. That's a very, very key part. How much are you taking and what kind are you taking? Second thing is a quality multivitamin. We've got the Victory Nutrition Probiotic. It's a liquid multivitamin. It's unlike anything else I've ever found. Look online. You can read all about it. It'll give a very good explanation for what's different about this as opposed to your Centrum or your other standard multivitamins. One thing about this is that they've proven that it gets absorbed. So the most expensive supplement out there, I don't care what it costs per bottle, the most expensive one is the one that doesn't get absorbed. So we got to make sure whatever we're taking is, for one, pure and safe, that we're not causing more harm or inflammation by taking it. So we have a quality brand that we're recommending and dose. And 2, that's getting absorbed. Otherwise, we're wasting our money. So look at this one. This one has a drastic and a profound effect on your red blood cell activity, how much oxygen you can carry to every part of your body. So take a look at that, a really cool blood cell analysis on your email that you get for that. And then some of the secondary ones, one of them is fish oil. So we've got it in a capsule and a liquid form. Fish oil is extremely important for a developing brain, so for kids, but for all of us. Our brain is about 60% fat. So this kind of fat is very, very cardioprotective as far as our blood vessels go, but also just for our brain health. If you're not eating a clean wild-caught fish, I'd say at least once a week or several times a week, you're going to want to have some sort of a clean version of fish oil. So we've got that for you, and it's a great price point. There are some that you can pay more for. I don't see the value in it, but I do know that this brand and this level is very clean. It's been safely cleaned. That's the other thing. You can have clean fish oil, but it got damaged in the process because they use too much heat or they put oxygen to clean out the mercury. So there's a lot of things that have gone into it. of any supplement out there, I would not skimp on fish oil. I think there's a lot of them out there that are doing more damage than good. If you're buying it, Costco, Walgreens, wherever it may be, yes, it may be clean, but did it get damaged, or is it the right kind that it's actually benefiting you? That's the questions I always ask. And then another one would be our probiotic. We keep that in the refrigerator to keep it fresh, but if your diet is not getting enough fermented foods, which would be like kombucha, kimchi, sauerkraut, things like that, a probiotic is an excellent way to just level out and then support your immune system. It's like you got a yard growing in there, you want to get the weeds out and have the healthy grass growing, and that's where everything starts. That's where all of the brain chemicals, all of the happy chemicals and the sad chemicals, and I want to make myself move chemicals, it all starts in your gut. Huge connection between the gut and the brain. So any questions on those, make sure you ask. Now, second part is you'll look at your neurospinal rehab. 3 things that we sell here in the office. There are additional recommendations, and this will all be covered in some little short videos for each one on how to do it. First one, though, is going to be your cervical wedge. It's a foam triangle. It's got a wood board in it so it doesn't collapse. I've tried to replicate this at home by hanging my head off the edge of a couch or something. Trust me, it doesn't work. Your time is going to be much better spent by using something specifically designed for putting the curve back in your neck. The way that this looks is you'll be laying on a flat surface. A bed is probably too cushiony, but we're trying to restore that curve in the neck. Remember, if you've lost that curve, that cervical curve in your neck, which would be like the curve right here, if you've lost that, you have a ligament here that needs to be stretched. A lot more details, I'll get into it in the video, so I don't want to repeat myself here, but very important to watch that, and it'll be explained how to do this and why to do it, but it's a very important part to accelerating and getting the results that we want to see for you in correcting your spine. Second thing then is the posture pulley. This is kind of like a slingshot you'd put behind your head, and what it's doing is it's working on strengthening all those back muscles. So it's actually a muscle workout. A separate video for that, so make sure you watch that. And then the third one is the Wobble Cushion. Just to let you know, everybody has this one recommended because it's sitting out there in the front. We provide this one for you here in the office, but we also recommend you have it at home. It promotes better posture. This is very, very important for getting your brain to wake up and getting all those joints, the 26 joints in your spine, to move appropriately. So watch that video. Each one of them will explain how to do it, but also why. So the why is very, very important. Once again, we've got the limited nutraceutical recommendations, and then also we call it the neurospinal rehab. You'll be sent an email, and at the bottom of the email it's called Care Notes. In that, you'll scroll down to the bottom of it, and there'll be paragraph form recommendations for all this. Any questions, make sure you please contact us and ask. We'd love to answer them. We don't want there to be confusion or have anything like that be the reason why people are not getting the results that they otherwise would have been.